Welcome back. Home to an incredible 850,000 people, with another 2,000 arriving daily, Bidi Bidi in Uganda is the largest refugee camp in the world.
And with World Refugee Day on Tuesday, celebrated Irish actor Liam Cunningham travelled to the camp last month with the World Vision charity, along with our very own Colette Fitzpatrick, which they documented in a TV3 programme, the world's largest refugee camp, which is currently airing on the 3-player. Have a little look at this.
This is what's designated a child-friendly space. There's 20 of these places in this area alone. Every day they host 40,000 little tiny people like this to try and give them a little bit of sense of themselves and that they can forget the terror that they've seen. But you can see the kids are playing. They've escaped war. It's a bit overwhelming emotionally.
Liam, good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
I know it's not easy to look back on that footage, and we were chatting in the green room before the interview and you were making the point, and it's such a valid point. It's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to actually stand there and have these hands hold your hand or the eyes look into your face.
Yeah, that is the strange thing. I mean, you know, we're normally used to seeing it in a box like I'm on now or in the newspaper, and there's a certain emotional distance that you can... And we do that, it's not because we're mean, because we're trying to protect ourselves. We don't want to hurt ourselves, and you don't want to think how bad lives people can be, because it just might happen to you. But when you're out there and you're trying to talk to some kid who's finding it very, very difficult to talk because God knows what trauma they've seen as a child, it brings it home, and it just makes you realise, and this sounds stupid to say, that they're exactly the same as us. We tend to think they're a little different culture, different colour, different whatever it may be. No. They're like us, as if it was happening to our own.
It's such a valid point, isn't it? I know the first thing that hit you when you arrived at the biggest refugee camp in the world is the size and the scale and the number of people there.
Well, it's extraordinary. I mean, I think Colette said in the documentary that it's a combination of Cork, Limerick, and Galway. I think in this particular place, you know, it's also the size of Newark in New Jersey or Nottingham in England, and it wasn't there at the beginning of this year. It wasn't there. Bidi Bidi was a tiny little village in the middle of nowhere, and there's 280,000. And that's not even the end of it. They had to close that at the end of May and open up satellite camps around it. So there's over 800,000 now, and there'll be 1 million people before the end of the summer.
And there's praise, I suppose, and credit due to the Ugandan government for the policies that they've adopted, allowing refugees come in and helping them to try and settle. I suppose it's unusual in a way.
It's almost unheard of. They have the most progressive. And listen, there would be certain policies of the Ugandan government that I'd have severe problems with. But as regards their policy for refugees, it's incredible. It's open door. They can work. They can go anywhere. And when these people come in, these unfortunates, they don't like calling it a refugee camp. It's a refugee settlement, because they've been given 30 by 30 metre plots of land. They're going to be able to provide for themselves. So what we're looking for here on the money is just to get them settled, so they can start feeding themselves, growing their own food and stuff. So this is not an ongoing problem that we're going to have to keep throwing money at here. There is a solution.
So it's a short-term opportunity, a window of opportunity to settle these people and get their life, get some dignity back.
Money that's needed on this, and it's. I mean, the UN's budget is about 780 million, and I think they've had less than 20% of that committed. So the problem with this is, and instead of me being, you know, I think we're termed bleeding heart liberal actors. I'm thinking about this in pragmatic terms. I mean, we've all seen in the Mediterranean the amount of people that are coming over on these inflatable boats, and a lot of suffering. There's 12 million people in South Sudan, and if they have the opportunity to go to northern Uganda and be looked after and be safe and whatever, they will take that opportunity. It's very like South Sudan, obviously, they're neighbouring countries. Yeah. But what happens is, if that money, if they're coming over and the food's not there, if you've got 3 or 4 kids and whatever it may be, you're going to go where there is food, and there's every possibility they will change direction and head north. And, you know, God knows what the Mediterranean is going to look like in a couple of years if we... And we have a solution. Yeah. But it needs joined-up thinking from their political leaders.
And why is there, I suppose, a lack of funding being directed at this crisis? Is that it hasn't really, I suppose, engaged the way perhaps Syria has or Afghanistan has?
Syria's on our doorstep. You know, we're trying to get people in here. They're in Greece, huge amounts of them in Italy. Italy's, you know, bending under the strain, and we're not taking care of our responsibilities there. I mean, maybe it's cynical to say, but there's no votes in it, and people won't look down the line and say, look, that may be at arm's length at the minute, but when they're arriving by the tens of thousands towards Europe because they have no choice. I really don't want to be one of those people putting their hands up saying, I told you so.
Well, would it be fair to say, Liam, that people in Ireland and any country, I suppose, Syria is closer to us because there's a direct impact. And when there's a direct impact, it becomes more relevant, there's more awareness around it, and suddenly, you know, it registers on our world. The distance doesn't seem the same.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we've seen people coming in, we've seen them met, and we've seen European people. So we're getting that connection. This thing does seem, as you say, almost at arm's length, and it's completely understandable. People are protecting themselves emotionally. They don't want to think about that many people being in that much trouble. And we've also got our own problems here with homelessness and whatever it may be. But if we don't help them, it lessens us, you know. It really lessens us. And this is, I mean, you know, I throw back to the old, the famine here. There was, 1.5 million people died and 1.5 million refugees left Ireland. And if it hadn't been for the generosity of specifically the North Americans, most of all, what would have happened if they'd have turned us away? You know what I mean? Where would Ireland be now if we were treated the same way that the European Union
and the point that you made earlier on, and it's funny, I had the same conversation the other day with somebody, was that these people are exactly the same as we are. The Syrians are, you know, the people in South Sudan, Uganda. I mean, families, you know, the same aspirations and everything as we do, and all the differences, geography, and they were for the grace of God.
Absolutely. And Syria, I mean, somebody said, you know, there was people at the opera on Saturday night and they'd no home on Sunday morning. And in the camps there was oncologists, judges, architects, university-educated people. These are not people who are tending goats up in a mountain somewhere. These are people who've had everything taken from them. And not only that, having been victims of this appalling, then to leave and then to be accused of being terrorists when they're trying to save their kids. I mean, the obscenity of that.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. You went with World Vision, of course,
yes.
And people can get all the information on World Vision. We do incredible work, as many people will know. Liam Cunningham, we can't bring you in here, and you know, there's
I know what's
droves.
coming.
You know what's coming. I'm sorry, I have to go there.
Go on.
But like, what a cult following Game of Thrones. Season 7 coming next month.
It's mental. It's absolutely mental. I mean, we were filming last year. I don't want to say where, but people were breaking into the hotel. We had to have security flown in. It's gone. I know what it feels like to be in one direction now. It's nuts.
It is nuts. And it's not like we can ask, you know, did you imagine the success that this would become? Because this has been a success since the very beginning, really, hasn't it?
Before, I mean, I knew it was going to be good. When I read the scripts, I'm long enough in the game and you kind of read it and you go, this stuff is gold. But if anybody says to you, we knew it was going to be huge, they're lying.
Really? Okay.
We knew it was going to be good, we didn't know it was going to be huge.
Yeah, or this big.
Yeah, no, nobody. It's bananas. It's gone absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. And in 1 month's time is the beginning now. It's a little less now, a couple of days less. And season 7 begins.
Are you finished filming season 7?
Season 7 has finished,
Yes.
And the production starts up again in October, I believe.
George,
allegedly.
George is frantically writing
quoted on this now. Hey, we'll have to be really careful.
I know you have to be really careful.
Man,
we definitely don't want to get you in trouble.
Mental.
Yes.
But allegedly we're starting again at the end of summer, more or less the same time we started last year. So it will be a little later.
You're working with Bryan Cranston as well.
I am. I've got one day left. I'm doing a thing called Electric Dreams by the writer. It was Philip K. Dick, who you will know from Blade Runner and Total Recall. So these are his short stories. So 5 been shot in America, 5 been shot in the UK.
And so Brian Cranston was producing this, was it?
Yeah.
But the episode that you're in was the only one that he actually appears in as well.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, it's an absolute delight.
So
he's a very cool guy, isn't he?
You had dinner with him at the Golden Globes, is it?
I did, yeah.
As you do, yeah.
As one does.
He's never going to tell us anything in the green room again.
I know.
No, he was with his wife Robin, who's an absolute delight, and she, as the evening progressed, and we got a couple of drops of sherry into us.
Yes.
She said, "Look, you wouldn't do us a favour and do a little video for my kid." And I said, "If you do a video for my wife and daughter," so he did the video, and I brought it home, showed my wife and daughter, and they squealed with delight when hearing their names being mentioned.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
But
hopefully his daughter squealed with delight when she saw your video.
Vomited, I'd imagine.
Of course, yeah. Father's Day today, and you're going home to cook the barbecue, I believe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've got the steaks out of the fridge already, trying to get them to room temperature. Top tip.
You've been listening to the cookery item, have you?
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of that pie before I go.
Indeed, you were.
Yeah.
Well, listen, happy Father's Day, Liam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, pleasure.
And as we mentioned, the most important part of this discussion was the World Vision stuff.
Yes, send the money. I've seen what tiny amounts of money that child-friendly space. All it cost was a little building and a fence around it, and look at the happiness abroad for next to nothing. Every little helps.
And there's the website details up on screen now as well.
And you can see the documentary as well on the 3Player, which is pretty brilliant.
Watch it and
Colette did a great job on it.
Thank you so much for your time. Great to meet you.
Thanks very much.
See you again. Continued success. Cheers.